everyone.
Okay, a lot of pressure. We have right here Rabbi Nosson Maimon. Rabbi Nosson is a student of Rabbi Rosenfeld, and I don't feel that it's proper for me to give any introduction to this rabbi, but he's a big tzaddik, and we're fortunate to be with him. We have Steven Rothstein. Steve has been coming to Uman with us for many years.
27, because my first trip was with Aaron Meyer.
Rosh Chodesh Nissan.
Wow.
1999.
In the corner we have Rabbi Braun. We have a class every day. Please join us, the Kutei Maharan and other topics on Zoom.
At this point in the video, everyone at home that's watching this knows Rabbi Braun by now.
Okay.
There's a lot of the Torahs already.
Rabbi Braun, here. We have Rabbi Meyer, but is that...
Aaron Meyer is my name.
Okay, his father also is a big rabbi.
My neighbor in Lakewood.
There you go. And of course, Rabbi Mordechai Dabbah, who is one of the best rabbis.
Stalwarts of our community.
Yeah, big rabbi in our community who does so much good work, especially with children, helps all the kids and, gives them good chinuch. And
Rabbi Dabbah was my rabbi.
Your rabbi,
way
my
back
rabbi.
when, your rabbi.
Yes.
We're talking about 30 plus years ago.
I was telling Rabbi Dabbah that when, as a kid, you know who the real rabbis are.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're pretty sincere at that point. They have nothing to gain to be real with you, and Rabbi Dabbah was always like that. So I always have tremendous respect for Rabbi Dabbah, and I'm so happy that you came. This really means a lot to me. And of course, Marco, the newbie.
Marco.
I'm done.
He's been introduced,
However,
he's been introduced, but one thing that we didn't connect was he's Rabbi Palachi's
Chaim Palachi. I don't know if we
great
mentioned
something.
that 80 times.
Great something, yeah.
Great something.
Now we'll leave it to fun.
Now, just before I really interrupted everyone and made you introduce, Mr. Rothstein was saying an amazing story with your father involved.
Okay.
Okay.
Take it away.
Take it away.
We want to make sure that we understand as community how Breslov has been impacting on the Syrian community. I came late to the community through marriage, but I came through a man by the name of Rabbi David Nahem, who was what's the word that you do when you learn together? Hebrotot. And they shared their first stories about sharing a sefer that Rabbi Maimon handed to Rabbi Nahem. And Rabbi Nahem did a great job in the Deal area, but someone that was way more of a pillar is a man by the name of David Yasulim, and that man is a world-class storyteller. So I hope that the project of your society, your community, will be to document David Yasulim's stories so that there's an actual library of them.
Fantastic idea.
But one of the David Yasulim stories that I got a big kick out of was when he was telling it to me, was how he grabbed that generation of 70-year-old SYs and first indoctrinated them into the idea of bringing Breslov to your community. And I was trying to figure out if it was called Sephardic Center or Sephardic Learning Center. And there was a lot of goings on when there was a problem with one of the schools in the community, and these guys were like floating, and Davey would run around, and you could picture him, if you know him, with a Cadillac convertible, getting these boys off of the street and bringing them to learn with Rabbi Rosenfeld, who has lineage back, I believe, I know that it's Rabbi Maimon's father-in-law, but I believe that Rabbi Rosenfeld had shaykhs to the Sternhardt's family, am I correct?
Also, he's actually a great-great-grandson of Rabbi Aaron, who is the official rabbi of the city of Breslov.
So the other intersecting point there is that Rabbi Rosenfeld was the Talmud of a man by the name of Rabbi Abraham Sternhartz, and his legacy is on in Jerusalem, and that's where a lot of our traditions are coming back to, because this is not a joke. This is not something that's like brand new to your generation of 40 and 50-year-old guys. These 70-year-old guys did really do a number on trying to keep it as pure as it could possibly be through time. And having Gedalia Fenster always quotes Rabbi's brother-in-law, Rabbi Kramer, as the words, and Rabbi Nosson Maimon as the music. And so I'm using Gedalia's mind, giving him credit, and I'm saying that if you have opportunity to plug into this wealth of knowledge, I personally am now taking it on myself. I've completed Likutei Moharan. I am now listening to all of Rabbi Shiurim on Likutei Halakot, and it's mind-blowing.
Which rabbi?
Rabbi Nosson Maimon.
Amazing.
Going on his website, I have a minimum of 6,000 hours to accomplish to catch up to him, because he's still producing the shiurim. He has not finished the work, and it's everything. It's from tefillin. It's why are we putting on tefillin, and what's the magic that's happening? We're getting the mochim, the wisdom of the day from Hashem during the Shema, which is the Raita, not the Rebbenon, and why is it then? And all the reasons about the why is it then. It's so interesting. I encourage you guys to maybe make a night where you go in and say, we're gonna, try this kind of shiur today. Lots of great Musar stuff, like don't miss a Zamra.
Yasher Koyach.
Thank
That's it?
you.
That's it?
And
That's
Ron-
what you have to say?
Once there was a third second of silence, I knew he was finished.
Oh.
But it was beautiful. We have to do it.
All right.
Well,
I guess short but
you
sweet.
know why that is. My father taught me that when you want to close,
Stop talking.
just shut up.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
What do you want to do next?
I want to eat and just,
Hacky.
yeah.
All right.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Do you guys have
It's an
7-year-old children?
Say again?
Do you guys have 7-year-old children?
7-year-old?
Yeah.
I actually do have a 7-year-old son, yes.
Do you know what Rabbeinu promises for a person that brings his 7-year-old here before?
No, but I know you're about to tell me.
Do you want me to be recording? He guarantees. He gives insurance. I love when rabbis give insurance. This
No.
rabbi is offering you an insurance policy that child. Could you please give it over, Rabbi? Because how dare I give Torah in front of my rabbis?
Welcome. Rabbi Nachman said that any child brought to him, under the age of 7 years old, brought to him, would have a protection from chas v'shalom, certain types of pigam brit, certain types of sins related to purity. And it's a known thing in Breslov.
Like Aliyot?
He mentioned
To get to the
specifically-
chuppah pure, I believe,
He
right?
mentioned it specifically regarding mikra laila, which means chas v'shalom, an accidental emission during the night. But his students understood that it's really across the board, all things related to purity, that kind of thing. That it's a special shmirah, special.
What's the number
protection.
7?
Don't know, but that's the way he presented it at the
At
time.
7 or before
Oh,
7?
before 7. That if the child comes before 7 years, could be because once a child's already 7 years old, they're already developed, they're already on a track. Before 7, it's before they've started experiencing, the world to a certain degree. But so hundreds of people that study Rabbi Nachman's writings and are aware of this try their best to bring kids, before the age of 7, to try to get them to read the Tikkun HaKlali, if at all possible. And many of them do. Sometimes it takes work. Going over it with a kid who's 4 years old, 5 years old, getting him to read.
I had my son finish a Kapitel Tehillim.
Yes. But even if they don't finish, even if they can't read it, it's still a very positive thing. Very positive.
If I'm allowed to clarify, I want to read much about it. So, bringing a child before 7 has nothing to do with it. Of course, it's him, which again says it's not glowing, but I think that's what
It's two independent things.
Yes. Some people think that there's a 7-year-old kid, how am I going to get
Yeah.
Try, of course, try, but before 7 is just to be here.
I was once here with a very righteous dude from Eatontown, New Jersey by the name of Rabbi Dweck.
Yes.
And Rabbi Dweck was a Kohen. So outside in the Banatzian, years ago, there was an elevated sidewalk and a one-room little place that those poor Kohanim had to go huddle up. So he had his 7-year-old son, and I had my 7-year-old son, and he patiently said, Michtam. My son answered, Michtam. L'David. My son answered, L'David. And you can only imagine that there's got to be 2,000 or 3,000 Hebrew words
Wow.
in the Tikkun Klali. And he patiently did that for my son.
Ricky?
We're not going to speak on the record. Please edit that part, but yes.
Redacted.
Ricky, David, and Jesse all made it here
Wow.
by age 7.
He just texted me about it.
You know, today that would be a lot harder to do. The attention span of a child today is much worse than it was even when Ricky was growing up. Because my daughter, who's 18, if you compare her to my 9-year-old, it's like night and it's like they were both brought up in completely different generations.
Worlds.
And unfortunately, and this is where, you know, the religious world really got it right. The devices are just awful. Awful.
Mr. Wilson, regards from Jody Levy, by the way.
They just, what they do is they take all the attention span completely out of a child, and everything is instant gratification. There's no patience, there's no concentration.
No
Sammy?
confidence.
It's
Sammy?
horrible.
Confidence.
Horrible. Live?
No, not live, no.
American.
It's
I don't
not-
edit everything afterwards.
How did Jody know I was here?
I just told him that I'm here with the,
Oh,
you know.
oh,
You know, and the problem is, like, my kids go to Bang and David, right? You can't take away their phone then. That's their whole life.
What kind of
They
flavor?
went to like unedit, then
Touching
it
it.
would be much better. Their friends don't have phones. You know, so I go to my friends that go to
Somehow
unedit, their
dairy or
kids.
no?
They sit around, they play
talk.
board games, they talk. It's just, it's
They change
night
the
and day.
cannolis?
Night and day.
Rabbi Braun.
People don't use the same fork on fishes.
Regards from Elliot Beta.
Oh, you meant to give me advertisements.
From
I
me?
forgot you were marketing.
No, I'm talking
So
to,
now everyone will know where.
Elliot Beta with the funny nickname?
Nugget?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know Elliot.
Yeah, David's brother, yeah,
Let him
exactly.
know
How much
that
they
I'm
have?
here.
I mean, he only said regards to Rabbi Braun, and he saw the video of everyone in it, so it doesn't say
So I
anything.
asked him, well, Tom, just because you stopped paying rent.
Nugget,
you
he
can't
wants
say
to know just because you stopped paying rent doesn't mean you can't say hello to Nachman.
that. He was a good tenant.
I might escape for a few days from school without anyone knowing where I'm going.
Right.
Doesn't work. No, but I learned from the Syrian community, they all do that. All of a sudden, one day the guy's not there, you don't see him for like a week. You know? They don't tell you they're going anywhere. And they come back, yeah, I was just in Israel, I was just staying. Of
course.
So I do the same. You know, you gotta look for the best.
They don't want to get stuck carrying packages,
And not take it anyhow.
I feel normal again.
I'm gonna go into Mexico.
I'm hungry,
Florida.
I'm not tired.
Listen, I was speaking to Marco, and he went to Shadet Torah his whole life, and he was saying how when he started reading the book, Likutei Maharan, it was amazing how
Yeah, 100% central.
Rabbi Nachman kept on going over the feet and, you know, how to add the Shmirah, and he said, you know, we didn't really get that message growing up as much as it was emphasized.
At all, like zero.
Sure. But if you look in the play, if you look in Shulchan Aruch even, in Even Ezer, where it speaks about this, where it speaks about marriage and preparing, you know, and everything, it's all there, it is there. But unfortunately, in certain places, some rabbis take a position that better not to talk about it.
But Rabbi, that's really the school system. That's like the tells Mahalach.
But if you go to Shadet, if you go to a very religious school,
So how come the Yeshiva Shuei doesn't do that? Doesn't instill the other part of it?
It's a problem.
And it goes back a few hundred years. It's Torah Masorah, you know?
Yes,
So what's pshat?
it's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's a massive problem.
I think we all recognize it's an issue, but I'm saying, how do we even solve it? Is it something solvable?
It's because everybody's a little delicate.
education.
It begins at home. It begins
Right.
at home.
Everything.
With my own family, that kind of thing. Just in Talmud, in Gemara alone, you have two parts. You have halacha and agadah. And in the yeshivish world, Agadah isn't highlighted. The Gemara itself says, if you want Yirat Shamayim, you're going to get it from the Agadah. So, and the Mishnah in Perek it says, Im ein yirah im chokhmah. That it's not that I'm going to learn Baba Kama, but let's see Basra with all the Rishonim, and I'm going to have the chokhmah, divine wisdom. I might have chokhmah, but it won't be divine wisdom. If I want it to be divine wisdom, it has a few components to it. There's a Mishnah in Perek that says, if a person who learns Torah lishma will result into a whole list of different, tremendous list of qualities: humility, fear of Hashem, respect, will love everybody, and will be beloved by everybody, a whole series. Reb Chaim Vital, who lived in the 1500s, writes in the introduction to the writings of the Arizal. The Arizal was a chidush. Like Hashem was a chidush, like Rabbi Nachman was a chidush. And when people see a chidush, sometimes they're worried. And sometimes they assume negative. So Vital writes a major introduction to the writings of the Arizal. And one of the things he writes there is, he says to those people who question the authenticity of my rabbi, the Arizal, to them I say that Rabbi Meir, the Tana Lokai Rabbi Meir, has a response for them. In what way? Rabbi Meir says in Pirkei Avot that if a person learns Torah Lishma, he'll have all of these qualifications. To these rabbis, now he's talking to rabbis in the 1500s, not, to these rabbis I say, look over there and ask yourself, is that you? Do you have all of those qualifications that it says there? If not, then it means you possibly haven't yet really experienced Torah Lishma. Whereas our rabbi, the Ari HaKadosh, we saw all of this, plus things that aren't. And it says that Umegalan Lo Rosei Torah, from heaven they revealed him secrets of Torah, all of these things. And we saw this, we saw. So already in that generation, saying that there are differences. There are rabbis and there are rabbis. And even though the other rabbis are Talmidei Chachamim, and they could even be tzaddikim, but even among the tzaddikim, there's completely different levels. Korach made a terrible mistake that he was part of a generation called the Dor Dea, the highest level. The Gemara says that every rabbi whose name is mentioned in the Gemara was capable of bringing a dead person back to life. The Dor Dea was a much higher level than that. But still, we're not all the same. We're not all the same. Not everybody is a Moshe Rabbeinu. Just Korach's statement was, Ki kol ha'edah kulam kedoshim. All of us are holy. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? This is what he was saying to Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaKohen. And Rashi says, all of us heard at Har Sinai, the Ten Commandments. So we're all the same. Just because all of us heard it, we're all the same? That's not what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, V'lo ha-midrash ha'ikar ela ha-ma'aseh. That learning alone doesn't qualify you, doesn't define you as being a Talmid Chacham or a Tzaddik. It's your actions. Ma'asecha yekarvucha, ma'asecha yerchuka. Your actions bring you close to Hashem. Your actions could keep you far from Hashem. And exactly. And in ein yira, in chachma, in ein chachma, ein yira. There's a healthy combination. Rabbi Nachman begins the opening line of Likutei Moharan, one line. Da ki alidei haTorah nitkablen kol hatfilot v'chol bakashot. He's telling you that there are two incredible pillars in Judaism, Torah and Tefillah, and both are critical. One without the other doesn't work. A person who learns Torah and doesn't pray that the Torah should have positive effect, he can be Yeravam ben Nevat. There are people who learned Torah and went way off. There are college professors. There are guys in China who are studying Talmud. That doesn't make them Talmid Chacham. That doesn't bring them close to Hashem. This is divine wisdom. And the Torah says there's requirements, there's prerequisites in order for it to work. The Gemara says that the rabbis of the Gemara would say a special prayer before they learned and a prayer after they learned. They knew that the Torah is fire. You're learning Torah, you're playing with fire. This fire can bring you closer to Hashem, or it can teach you how to rob people, can give you. The Gemara says one of the rabbis, Rabbi Yochanan, was teaching his students. He was teaching his students, and he was teaching them certain things about stealing. And he said, "We're going to stop here because I don't want you guys to become robber." Rabbi Nachman quotes this. He says, "Look at this. Rabbi Yochanan is speaking to his talmidim, and there's a concern that in hearing words of Torah, it could be misguide, misuse, to use it the wrong way."
And when they have the ultimate, you have Yeshu, he's the worst of the worst.
Of course.
And you have people with kochot like Rosh Lakish, the other side.
And one of the claims against, one of the questions and claims against Hasidim was that they don't learn. Because at that time in the 1700s, when the Baal Shem Tov first came about, there was the Torah world, which was about 1% of Judaism. 1% was in the yeshivas at that time, and 99% wasn't. They weren't in yeshiva. They weren't educated. They weren't. There was during the time of the Vilna Gaon, there were very few yeshivot, and there were very few students. So the rest of them were pretty much left out, disconnected. And the Baal Shem Tov made a point of stressing, that Hashem, everyone is included. The Yissacharas and the Zvulons and the this, everyone, and the Yisros, everyone is included, that kind of thing. But there was tremendous emphasis on learning. The Baal Shem Tov learned the Torah. They learned, There was a story once that somebody wanted to make fun of the Baal Shem Tov once. So they came, we're going to test him to see if he knows halakha. So they said to him, Rosh Chodesh, what happens if a person forgets to say Yahweh V'Yavo on Rosh Chodesh in Shachrit? Does he repeat the Amidah? Does he doesn't? So the Baal Shem Tov said, no. We got him. It's a simple, most simple halakha. He says, I'll tell you why. He says, if it were me, there's no possibility in the world of forget Yahweh V'Yavo. What are you, nuts? You're talking to Hashem. I'm talking to Hashem, and I'm praying from a Siddur, or I'm connecting. The Shulchan Aruch says that the rabbis, when they would pray, they would have Hispashtus Hagashmis. That's in the Shulchan Aruch. They would close their eyes. They would disconnect from the body completely. They were so connected to. So if it were me, it's not possible to forget. And if it were you, you'll forget the second time again. So that's why the words that you don't repeat it. But I'm saying there are stories, all kinds of interesting stories. There's a story that I heard from one of the great rabbis in Breslov 50 years ago, Rabbi Nosson, who was one of the giants in Israel at the time. And he mentioned that there was an incident with Reb Zusha, the Rebbe Reb Zusha, who was one of the students of the Mezritcher Magid, that somebody came to him once crying hysterically that his father passed away not long ago. And his father was a very religious person, and his father came to him in a dream and said to him that he should convert. He should convert to the other religion. And the dream has come a few times already. So this is wild, this is crazy. So Reb Zusha heard it. He said to him, I want you to go to the cemetery. I want you to open your father's grave. Take a look inside, you're going to see a cross in there. The Goyim sometimes would do that. They couldn't convert a person while he was living. They put a whole story that during the funeral, a priest had gone by and he saw the open grave and he tossed a cross in there. Nobody saw it. So the person went and checked and it was true. So there was a buzz around the city and everybody was saying, wow, Reb Zusha has Ruach HaKodesh. How in the world could he have known such a thing? How in the world could he have known such a thing? And word got back to the Vilna Gaon that, man, look at this. You said they're not crazy, these Hasidim, there's something to that, isn't it? He said, Ruach HaKodesh nonsense. It's a Yerushalmi. There's a story like this in the Gemara Yerushalmi. But the only thing I can't understand is Hasidim don't learn. They don't even learn. How did he know a Yerushalmi? So word got back to Reb Zusha about this. And he smiled and he said, he's right. I didn't get it from Yerushalmi. I got it from where the Yerushalmi got it from. I got it from there.
Amazing.
If a person looks into the Sifrei Chassidut, they're printed, they're published, you can look. The Bnei Yisachar, these other Sfarim, these rabbis knew Gemara very, very well. And they knew Halakha very well. And they knew additional things. But in addition to Gemara and Halakha, They were very knowledgeable in the Zohar Kadosh and other things. And here again, you hear all kinds of different opinions. The Chidah, who's a respected posek, Birkei Yosef, all the different svarim that he wrote and everything. The Chidah writes, he quotes a pasuk in Tehillim, Al tihiyu kesus kefered ein havin. Don't be like a horse, like a mule who doesn't understand. He says that refers to those people who think that it's okay to leave out sod from Judaism. That people say, I'll learn it when I can learn Gemara Halacha for another 1,000 years. I'm not, so, He says that's called pered. Person who separates the samach from the peiresh pshat remez drush. To leave out the sod means you're not getting a real understanding of authentic Judaism. Again, and what we see today, we see thousands of kids and others that are not connecting. Why not? Because they need a spice. They need the Gemara and Halacha is meat and potatoes. It's the basics of Judaism. But you need salt, you need pepper, and you need an appetizer, and you need a cup of wine. And without those things, it's not working. In many cases, it's not working. For many people, it's not working.
It's funny, the Chassidut have some of the people have it on the other side. They don't have any meat and potatoes, only have spice. And then we have people with only meat and potatoes. How do we marry the two? That's the question.
Against Rabbi Nachman. That first line in his book, that you need a healthy combination of both. You need Torah and Tefillah. You need halacha. He quotes from the Ariyah Kadosh that the word halacha makes up the first letters of Hariu Lashem Kol Haaretz. The whole world sings to Hashem. Halacha is for everyone. And then Kabbalah, there's another pasuk, Hishtachavu Lashem B'Havras Chodesh. We bow to Hashem in His holy palace, in His holy throne room. The first letters there are Kabbalah. To know that there's an outer room and there's an inner room. So a person would say, first let me finish the outer room. But we see that everyone needs that spice. Rabbi Rosenfeld, he gave classes in Ein Yaakov, stories of the Gemara. So many people say, that's for girls, or that's for guys who can't learn. If you can't learn Gemara, you're learning.
I got it.
But you see that it was a magnet. People heard businessmen, guys who were working all day, would come to the class and they'd hear these stories. And again, he would sprinkle it a little with things from the Ariyah Kadosh, from the Zohar Kadosh, from the thing, and it gave energy. It gave them, desire. It gave them incredible respect for Torah. That anything in Torah, halacha, anything, on Shabbat, any opportunity they had to go to a Torah class, they would go, because they were shown that the Torah is wow. When I started going to his classes, I was 16, and when I came, he was in the middle of Ketubot. And about a couple of months later, he went into Seudah. In the beginning of Seudah, there's a couple of pages there where it speaks about humility. And the Gemara brings Pesukim, all kinds of incredible things about what Ga'ava does to a person and what humility. Incredible. There's a half a line there where it says, a Talmid Chacham should have an eighth of Ga'ava. That's a half a line in the Gemara. Rashi says, it means a little bit. So now let's expound on this. And he gave a 45-minute class on that half a line of Gemara. I remember at the end of that, I said, wow, this is divine Gemara. Every line, it's not just this line, every line, this is divine wisdom. This is not biology, this is not nuclear physics. This is another league. Incredible chidushim. That if you look at the 8th parasha in the Torah, the 8th pasuk, Yaakov Avinu, who is the Talmid Chacham, learned forth and says, Katonti mikol hachasadim mikol ha'emet asher asiyah. Hashem, I'm unworthy, of all of the kindness and wonderful things. Then there's a chapter in Tehillim that the Gemara calls Tmanya, chapter 119, which has the whole alphabet 8 times. The 8th letter, Chet, which has 8 pesukim. One of those pesukim, King David The most honorable person in Judaism is a king. A parent, there's a mitzvah to respect your parent. There's a mitzvah to respect your rabbi. But they're allowed to say, you don't have to stand. A king, Melech Shemocha Akvodo Ein Kvod. He was a king and he was a Talmid Chacham. The Gemara says, Halacha K'moisa. And what does he say? Chaver ani l'chol asher yireucha. I am a friend to everyone that has respect. Anyone that has respect for Hashem is my friend. Not my student, not my friend. Chaver ani. And then he went on from one example, from the Ari HaKadosh, that Gava is called Gas Ruach. Gas. Gas means fat, bloated. Until the 63rd, it's still within the category of gas. When you go to 164th, it's already not gas, Then he went into one of the names of Hashem, the Shem Ayin Bet, which, here again, that's Kabbalah. It's Gemara. It's a Gemara in Sukkah. Rashi and Tosafot in Sukkah speak about what we say on Hoshana Rabbah, Ani Vaho Hoshiana. So Rashi says Vaho is one of the 72 names of Hashem. There's a name of Hashem which consists in it. So in the Zohar Kadosh, it has a chart at the end of the Chumash that shows the 72. Each name has 3 letters in it. 72 is Chesed. 72 times 3 is Gevurah. So this name of Hashem, part of what makes it so special is that it combines, which is unusual. And if you look in column 8 across, column 8 down, the name of Hashem in there is Ayin Nun Vav, Anav. We know that tzaddikim always try to emulate Hashem. So it's telling us that a Talmid Chacham can have an eighth of an eighth, meaning look at Hashem. And then he went on to say something deeper. And you saw that this is divine wisdom. This isn't a joke, There was a yeshiva at that time in Borough Park when he started teaching Rabbi Rosenfeld, which was called Eitz Chaim. And the kids there were very difficult. This is 60, 70 years ago, not today where there's attention span. These kids had attention, but they used their attention to get rid of teachers. Every 2-3 weeks they had another rabbi. And he was going to be rabbi number 4 or 5 of this class. And 3 of those people today are rabbis. One of them is his son-in-law, Rabbi Kramer, a tremendous... So when he came in to teach, and he was told that he's number 4, and he came in, and the reception that they gave him was, they set up the class that all the desks were like in the back, and the teacher's desk was alone. So if he wants to talk, he's got to use a megaphone to, that was his welcome to the class. He saw the situation right away. He said, I'd like to share a story with you. And he started telling stories, and all of those desks started moving up. These kids loved him so much. He lived in Flatbush. They lived in Borough Park. The weekdays weren't enough. On Shabbat, they would walk in. They wanted to have Seudah Shlishit. 12, 13-year-old kids. My brother-in-law was one of them. I know some of them today are grandparents, great-grandparents. They would walk in because they knew that they wanted to get a class from him on Shabbat also. Unbelievable. So I'm saying there's Torah and there's Torah. There's different ways. And many people are realizing today that maybe for 5 or 10%, it works. Gemara, halacha, they're good. They don't feel they're missing something. The other 90%, if they're not given some of the stories and some of the agadot and some of the spices,
I think the right word is warmth.
Yeah, of course.
Because I feel like the other side is just straight up rigid.
Of course.
Halacha l'maaseh, zero.
Exactly. Do, don't.
Right.
And if you don't, you're in trouble.
You have the mic here?
So I was really, Steven invited me to come, which is tremendous zechut, really. I figured if I'm going to come prepared. I'm going to learn about it. I went to Kibbutz Tzadikim many years, many times. But obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has his way how to do things, and I decided I spend come out a whole day trying to learn this sugya about what is it to go to Kibbutz Tzadikim. What happens? So I came across this Vilna Gaon, which is a little bit of a shock. We go to live Gedolim. We go to Kibbutz Tzadikim, okay. part of your tourist, adventure when you go to Israel, you go to Arizal, but when I saw this Gaon, it blew me away. Ikar Hashrat HaShekhinah is in Kibbutz Tzadikim. I mean, it's a cemetery. The Arizal says that when he talks about making Yehudim, you connect literally with the Nefesh, the Ruach, the Neshama of the Tzaddik that's there. But he says, don't do it. Unless you're a person that actually is holy, the Kalis are going to get hold of you. So don't try it unless you know them. So anyways,
He's talking about prostrating yourself
prostrate,
and trying to make that super simple.
Yehudim, you're talking about, and literally, he says the Neshama, the Nefesh always is there. Even if this person passes away, there are certain levels that always remain with the body. He talks about after the person passes away, each part goes to its place. Olam Asiyah, Olam Abariyah is a whole discussion. This is all real stuff. But Ikar HaShekhinah and the bit from the Kibbutz Tzadikim, was, I don't know, I found it very, initially, then it's Pashat. Really, Bemet Pashat Pshat. By the Mishkan, it says, V'shachanti betocham. The Chamim tell us, V'shachanti betocham, I mean, you're talking about a structure that was the microcosm of the world. Betzalel, Yada Betzalel, Betzalel knew the letters that Borei Olam created the world with. And he created this model on planet Earth that mimicked the entire creation. That's what it says. It means, thank you, yes. So you're in the Pasuk says, and I will dwell amongst them. Amongst them? Amongst it. Not amongst them. So the Chachamim tell us that even in the Shekhinah, rest, it's really intended for the Had. Yes, the tool that brings down, the tools where the Ramban explains, all the vessels facilitated the Shekhinah to come down, as opposed to the Ketoret, or simply for Ketoret. Just Ketoret, that's where the Ketoret is mentioned in a different spot at the end of Parashat Tetzaveh. He says all the kelim are really intended to bring the Shekhinah down. So even though the facilitator is the Mishkan, the actual Hashrat, the Shekhinah, is by every single, thank you, is by every single person. So yet you find by Yitzchak, right, the Torah says, doesn't say it's Elokei Abraham, he goes to wait. Upahad Yitzchak. How come we don't say Elokei Yitzchak? Because Hashem is not going to trust a human being because we have an ability to make decisions.
As long as he's still living.
As long as it's a lot, we can't name it.
Wait, I'm sorry. Where does it say Elokei, not say Elokei? When
Yaakov speaks about Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, he doesn't use the terminology. He says Elokei Abraham, Ufahad Yitzchak. Right? Was still alive.
Exactly.
So that means you see that a person really, if you see from the Mishkan, the true Hashrat HaShekhinah is in a person. There's a problem that we can't count on him, right? Once a person passes away, that means he reached the epitome. If it's a tzaddik, he reached the epitome of the personification that Borei Olam gave him as a human being, because each one of us has a piece that nobody else can bring down. Every one of us.
And now it's complete.
Now it's complete. So that means that's a true Hashrat HaShekhinah.
Beautiful.
So where is that? That's going to be in the Kibbutz Tzadikim, because they are the ones that literally used that piece of, Moshe Shapiro always explains that Borei Olam, when he created the world, he created the Shem. We say in Olam Shabbat, Letaken Olam b'Malchut Shaddai. Tikkun is only shayach when the world is still functioning under the name Shin Daled Yud. She'amar la'olamo dai. Borei Olam didn't build the world according to him, but according to us, because we are all given a piece that a Borei Olam did not choose to execute himself. He gave it to us to be partners. Asher bara Elohim la'asot. He made us his partner. Tremendous chesed. But the word dai doesn't only mean enough. That means also demach sorah. Hashem gives everybody the piece that they are going to bring. It means we all carry the Ora Ganuz. We carry a piece of the Shem Havaya. We all, every one of us. Keshem Shem Partzufehem Shavot, Kach and Deotam, so we all carry a different mission. That's what we have to do. But when we do carry and we do execute the mission, what are we doing? We're revealing Hashem Havaya. From the word Lashin Dal Yud, which is the concealed world, Olam Ha'alem, that's concealed, we actually bring down our piece. Each one according to what they're supposed to do. Hashem doesn't need robots. We have to be different. We have to have self-confidence. We have to look into our potential. Each one according to who we are.
No ChatGPT.
We have to know. No ChatGPT. No AI. This is strictly be'emet. A piece of Shem Havaya that nobody else has. Nobody has. Each one has his own. So when a person fulfills his mission, that means he brought down that piece that from Sheshit Yemei Bereshit till now, there was nobody else that did this. It's a pella. The Midrash says, "Shekol haruchot nevreu l'sheshit yemei bereshit." That's what the Hashem tells the Ruach, go into this tipa, because from the day you created till now, we've been waiting for this moment for you to execute that mission. That means that today we all have been megaleh Shem Havaya. It's a pella. When we go to Kibbutz Tzadikim, which they intensified the heavy dose of because they became a tzaddik, they became that great person. So when we go to Kibbutz Tzadikim, we have to know there's literally Hashad HaShekhinah there. Literally Hashad HaShekhinah. That's thanks to Steve.
Amazing.
Beautifully said.
And you have this famous quote, Gedolim Tzadikim b'mitatam yoter b'chayim. The Gemara says, Tzadikim are greater